Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Since Father's Day is just around the corner, today we're going to be making Father's Day cards with our Cricut. I've got 5 different designs that we're going to be doing today. You can download all the templates from my blog at svgnation.com. I've left the link in the description. So to get started, go ahead and upload your files. We're going to start with this World's Greatest Father. This is a pretty simple cut and fold card. If your paper is two-sided, like it's one color on one side and one color on the other side, you really don't need this extra piece right here that says greatest, because you're already going to get the different color effect when you fold it. But if you're using a piece of paper that's just a single color, you're going to want to cut this out as well. For this card, we're going to go ahead and ungroup all of these. And we're going to click on it. We're going to also want to ungroup these layers right here. Because we want to take these cut lines right here and we want to change them to score lines. If you don't have a scoring feature, you'll go ahead and delete these. But if you don't have a scoring stylus or scoring wheel, but you have the capability to have them, I definitely recommend getting them. By using your scoring tool, it's just going to help make your lines so much cleaner. It's great for cards and boxes, and it's a tool that I use all the time. So we just selected both of these cut lines and just hold down shift to select more than one layer at a time. And we're going to go to our operation and change these to score. Okay, while we have these selected, we're going to hold down shift and we're going to select our card as well, because we need to attach the score lines to the card, and this will let the Cricut know exactly where to score. And so this card is ready to go. We can just go ahead and make it. Although this is a card, we are doing this on a mat because it's much longer than a card with the way it folds. So we're going to continue. And you want to make sure that you see your score lines on top of the card where they're supposed to be. If not, you need to go back and make sure that you attach those. But if everything looks good to go, you can go ahead and continue and cut out all the pieces of your card. Start by preparing your Cricut mat. I am using my green mat here because it's been used often, so it's lost a lot of its stickiness. Instead of buying blue mats, I just recycle my used green mats for my paper projects. So it's just a little tip if you want to get more use out of your mats. But if your green mat is super sticky, you're probably going to want to use a blue mat instead. And if you are using a scoring stylus or scoring wheel, make sure to insert this before cutting. Then just sit back while your Cricut cuts everything out for you. You'll need to follow the prompts for when to unload and load your next mat. When removing cardstock from your mat, it's easiest to roll the mat off of your cardstock. This is going to help everything come off smoothly and prevent any rips or curling of your card. You can use your scraper to easily scrape off all the extra pieces that are left on your mat. To assemble this card, all you need to do is fold it back and forth like a fan so it reads World's Greatest Father. Your brayer tool is great for getting a really good fold in the card. And if you're using a second color, which I do recommend doing unless your paper is double-sided with a different color on each side, then go ahead and glue this piece to your card. A glue stick will work just fine, just make sure to be generous with it. Having the contrast in the colors really makes the card easier to read, and it's a lot more appealing to look at. I do recommend using a lighter color for the card so it's easier to write on, and then using a darker color for the piece that you glue on. And while it dries, you can just throw a thick book on top. This is going to give it a flat, seamless appearance once it's dried. And then your card is ready to go. Hopefully you won't have such a mess with the glue stick like I did. I don't really know what went on there. The next card we're going to make is this Super Dad Happy Father's Day card. This is a simple cutout card with the insert. So you can actually make this one using like the pre-made Cricut cards that come with the insert. So if you want to use like the Cricut Joy or your card mat, I'm going to show you how you can do that with this design. You can ungroup these. And you're not even going to need this insert layer because your cards come with the insert layers unless you want to cut your own color, but we can just get rid of that. And we're going to go into our shapes and select our square. And go ahead and click the lock so you unlock the proportions. And you want to include these cutout lines right here in all of your design. So you're just going to select this and make sure that everything, all those cutouts and your design are both, but you don't want to go past the card. You just want to get all of those. And once you have those covered, hold down shift to select both layers, and you're just going to slice. Okay, We can now remove all of these sliced layers. The only thing that we want to keep is this design right here. So let's delete all of these, because this is the design that we want to have cut out our cards. So we're going to go to Make It, and I'm going to show you how this looks on a card mat. We're going to continue, and so you'll be able to fold your card right up along here, and it's just going to cut all of these designs out of the front of your card. And it would be the same with the Cricut Joy. So this is ready to make, but if you don't have a card mat and you are using a standard mat, which is what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to go ahead and show you how you can do that. I'm just going to delete this, and I'm going to start fresh. So we've added this to the canvas. It's actually ready to go, but I do want to add a score line because, like I said, I like to use the scoring stylus to score my lines. So you can either make this if you're folding it in half by hand, or we can ungroup these to add our score line. And we're just going to select our score line here, and we're going to drag it down. And now we're just going to select both the card layer and the score line together by holding down Shift. And we're going to align that in the center. And now you also need to attach your score line to your card again so that your Cricut knows where to score. And you can get your score line perfect. It doesn't matter if it's a little bit longer, but this is all we need to do. And this is a very easy card because all we're going to do is on our mat, we're just going to cut out our card shape, and then we're going to cut out our insert and fold and assemble it. So let's continue. This Super Dad card is an easy one to make. You can use the pre-folded Cricut cards for this one, and all you need to do is to add your insert once it is finished cutting. But if you don't have the pre-folded cards, then just use your standard size Cricut mat and your own cardstock to cut the card. If you're wondering about what cardstock to use for cutting out your own cards, I always use a 65 weight, and this has worked really well for me. This card is really easy to cut and put together, but it looks super great as well. Alright, the next card that we're going to make is another simple cutout. It's going to be this #1 Dad card, but this card does have an additional layer. Let's ungroup these so you can see what layers we're working with. So we have this top card layer, and then we have this layer right here, and then we also have this layer. So it's a little bit different. Although it's a cutout, we do need to attach and glue each piece together. This piece is going to glue right inside of there, with this one gluing back there. It's going to give you some different colors and a really neat look. So this one's ready to go. All we need to do is add our score line. If you're not using a scoring tool, then you can skip this step. Again, we just need to select both layers, and we're going to align this center, and then with both of these selected, we're going to attach those together. So let's go ahead and make this card. And we are using just our regular mat for this. I really love the way this gold glitter cardstock looks for the trophy for this #1 Dad card. This is actually one of my favorite cardstocks to use. It is double-sided, which I love, but because of this, it doesn't stick well to your mat. So regardless of how sticky my mat is, I always tape this one down because it will slide easily. And I've just had too many projects where I'm in the middle of cutting and it slides and I have to start all over. The tape that I'm using, it's not very sticky. It's kind of similar to like a painter's tape, so anything like that or a Scotch tape will work. You also will need to adjust your cut settings for this glitter cardstock. You'll want to go with something that's meant for like a thicker cardstock setting and add more pressure. And if you do have an Explorer that has the dial, you can turn the dial to the lower poster board setting, and that works well as well. And if you're interested in this paper or any other items that I use in this tutorial, I have left links in the description so you can go there to check them all out. You won't need to roll your mat off of this glitter cardstock. Since it doesn't stick well, it's just going to slide right off. And you'll probably have to poke out all the small pieces. They should pop out pretty easily. If not, then you do need to add more pressure for cutting. And to assemble the card, you're just going to glue the gold layer down first. Glue stick does not work with this glitter cardstock, so you do need a craft glue. And then once it's glued down, just glue your additional cardstock piece to your glitter layer. And now just throw a thick book over this while it dries, so you're going to get that nice, flat, seamless appearance. Alright, so for this next Father's Day card, it is going to take a little bit of assembly, but this one's a really fun one if your dad loves beer. I love how it's just a different shape, so it's a little bit different than all these cutout cards, but it's not going to be able to be made with like the Cricut card mat, so you do have to use your standard mat for this one. And again, this one is ready to go. The only thing we have to do is add our score line. So I'm going to ungroup this, and honestly on this one, if you see, there's barely anywhere the Cricut can score. I'm going to go ahead and add it anyway, but this one it's not really that big of a deal. I just like to get that perfect center with the scoring, and we're going to align and we're going to center that and we're going to attach it. And so we're ready to go ahead and make this. Go ahead and send all of these to cut. And you're going to select your mat for any material. And once it's cut, we'll go ahead and assemble. For this beer card, you'll notice that I cut Happy Father's Day out in permanent adhesive vinyl instead of cardstock. This is because I didn't want to have to glue each one of those letters down. It's much easier to use your adhesive vinyl for this, but either way will work. So if you don't have any adhesive vinyl, then you can cut them out with cardstock. With the vinyl, you do need to weed the extra pieces off of your vinyl. You can use a weeding tool for this, but I find it's easier just to fold the piece in half and peel off the small pieces. I actually usually use my daughter for this part because she loves weeding all my stuff. She's definitely way better at it than I am, but she's at school, so I'm stuck doing it myself. To assemble this card, you first need to glue on your rectangle pieces. You're going to spread them out as evenly as you can, and a glue stick works great for this. Again, just make sure to use a generous amount so it stays. And then you're going to glue on your beer foam. Before you add glue to this part, make sure you line it up so that you know what side to add glue on. I actually put it on the wrong side and had to recut this out. So make sure to first fit that first so you don't make the same mistake as me. And then next, add Happy Father's Day to your ribbon background piece. You can pick each piece off and attach them like a sticker, or you can use transfer tape to transfer it all over together. If you use transfer tape, just make sure that your transfer tape isn't too sticky. And I find the brayer tool really works better than my scraper for adhering vinyl to the transfer tape. You can see how easily it all transferred over this way. So just another great use for the brayer tool. Now when I attach the letters to my cardstock, I'm not going to use too much force with my brayer when attaching it because I don't want the transfer tape to stick too much to the cardstock. The letters are sticky enough, so it's going to attach anyway. And then the last thing is to glue Happy Father's Day to the card. I just love how this card is cut out as like a shape, so it's not your traditional card shape. For our last Father's Day card, we're going to be using Cricut pens to customize it. If you've never used these Cricut pens before, I definitely recommend getting a pack and trying them out. I don't know why, but I was like super intimidated by them at first, and then I used them, and they were really easy, and they were really fun, and I really look forward to like projects using them now. So to get started, let's go ahead and ungroup our layers. And this layer right here that says thank you for all that you do, this is our writing layer, so you do need to go into your operation and change this from basic cut to pen. And if you notice, it does make it so it's going to draw on the outside, so it's kind of like an outline. This is just because the pen tool acts the way that the cutting tool acts. But if you have Cricut Access, you do have a full library of fonts that are specific for writing. This is actually one, but I'm going to show you how you can get to them. If you go into your fonts, just go into filters and you're going to click writing, and it's going to bring up all these different fonts that are meant specifically for writing with your Cricut. So there's a lot of fun, cute ones. Like this one was one, and I just selected another one. So these are going to give you your single lines. If you don't have Cricut Access, it is going to charge you to use these. So you can go ahead and use the layer that I have here. If you use a thicker pen, like I like these gel pens, which are thicker, you're not going to notice the outline as much. So that's just a little trick around that. Once your pens are, like your writing layer is ready to go, you do need to attach it to your card. Just select both layers by holding down Shift and then attach. And this is going to let your Cricut know exactly where it needs to write, and then cut around it. If you don't attach it, it's just not going to work. And now we're going to use or add our score line. We're just going to add our line and rotate it. If you hold down shift while you rotate it, it's going to go like in perfect angle so that you can rotate it to a perfect 90-degree angle. And we're going to just stretch this out, and we're going to select this and our card layer together so that we can align this, and we're going to center the line vertically. And now we can, while these are all selected, just go ahead and attach your score line as well. And again, that's just going to show your Cricut exactly where it needs to score. And so everything's ready to go. And we do still have these other layers down here. They didn't disappear. It's just that was brought in front. So let's go ahead and make our card. And since we are using multiple tools, like we're going to cut this on the mat, we are using pens and we are using a scoring tool. So you really need to pay attention to what prompts your Cricut tells you to do. And that way you know what to enter and when to enter it. Because if you enter your pen when you're supposed to add your scoring stylus, instead of scoring, your Cricut's just going to draw a little line across it. So it's really important to pay attention to which prompt it is. So our first prompt tells us to add the scoring tool to clamp A. So go ahead and insert your scoring tool if you are using the scoring stylus. Then load your cutting mat and hit the blinking Cricut button. When your Cricut is done scoring, it's automatically going to stop and you'll get another prompt in Cricut Design Space. So go ahead and follow this prompt that tells you to add your pen into clamp A. And then you're going to hit the blinking Cricut button again for your Cricut to continue the process. Since this is the last tool, your Cricut will automatically cut out your card after it's done writing, so there's no need to do anything else until it's finished. And once all of your pieces are cut out, you just need to glue your Dad and I Love You layers to the front of your card. Your writing tool did most of the work on this card, so there wasn't a lot to put together. And I really love the look of using pens with the cardstock embellishments, and also how this looks with the lighter and darker blue colors. If you made it this far, I'd love to hear from you. So let me know what kind of card types that you guys want to see more of. Do you prefer more of the insert cards that you can use with like the pre-made Cricut cards? Or do you like more of the custom shaped cards? Or maybe do you prefer the cards where you use Cricut pens? Just leave a comment down below and let me know. And also if you have any questions, you can leave those in the comments as well and I'll answer them there. And thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe. Bye!